Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United pod. I'm your host, TC, and joined again by my co-host, Ben. How you doing, pal? Happy Christmas. Did you have a nice time?
Yeah, hello, mate. Merry Christmas to you too. It's the first time we spoke since, isn't it? Yeah, it was.
A while, hasn't it?
It has been a while. Yeah, been a while for the football, for the pod, for everything. But yeah, I had a nice Christmas. Spent it with family. Was very chilled. I'm still continuing to eat a hell of a lot. So the January diet's not starting just yet. But no, it's been a good one. How about yourself, mate?
Good, man. Yeah, I've had a nice one too, mate. Nice, relaxed, great food, as you say. I haven't put on any weight. I've been doing loads of exercise as well. So yeah, not like last Christmas. I'm not going to let Scott rib me like he did through January and February last year. So yeah, I'm fit as a fiddle. But yeah, I had a lovely time, mate. Nice and relaxing. But it was just weird for me not having United. It was so weird. Normally, we get machine gunned matches, don't we, over Christmas? And normally Boxing Day is a gimme for United. We know United are the Boxing Day kings. So not having games, and then we don't have a game on January the 1st either, do we? We have to wait till the Monday the 3rd. So it's a very bizarre holiday period for United. It's just, strange, mate. Really strange.
Yeah, it's usually. I mean, you mentioned the Boxing Day ones. There is usually the Boxing Day and New Year's Day. It's the games that you can sort of that muddle you through the Christmas and festive period, don't they? When your head's either in presents or food or drink or whatever, or you're trying to age a hangover, then usually you got United either on the telly or to Old Trafford to cure that, and that's what gets you through this Christmas period, isn't it? Really, but yeah, it's been a bit of a weird one this year, but I'm glad to see us back. I'm back winning again.
It's been really weird. I had one New Year's Day. We played West Brom away, and my mate, my childhood friend, supported West Brom, and his dad, of course, too. So they were going to the Hawthorns on New Year's Day, and I got a ticket for the away end. So we basically were all going to go together on New Year's morning. I believe, you can check the archives. I think it was a lunchtime kickoff. I'm pretty sure. And his old man picked us up outside the kebab shop at about 5 or 6 in the morning, mate. It was savage. He was puking out the window. It was carnage. I think we won by a goal. You know, my memory is waning as the years go by, but we definitely won the 3 points. We definitely got the 3 points because I remember all the way there, the whole match, I was hanging, but the 3 points got me up. And on the way home, I was unbearable. Those two baggies who were of course hanging as well. His dad had a night off. He was fine. He was fit as a fiddle, but my mate was hanging. It was a glorious, glorious day. So yeah, that's what the festive period is all about, right? I mean, me and Scott have had trips up to Old Trafford at Christmas time as well. It's all about getting there, surviving it, getting the 3 points and celebrating afterwards.
Yeah, of course it is. It's the tonic, isn't it, to whatever's gone on in your Christmas, whatever the night before entailed, and then United the next day is what gets you through it. You're right. So it's been a little bit of a muddled one this year, hasn't it? So
it has.
Look, we're getting into it now, aren't we? And we've still got them thick and fast now, haven't we? Really, the fixtures coming up.
We have now, absolutely, and we'll have a double game week coming up. I'm talking fancy talk now, and but anyway,
here he goes already.
Anyway, on today's show, we will react to Manchester United bouncing back and handsomely winning, you must say, 3-1 against Burnley at Old Trafford. I must say, Ben, I've got to start the show addressing just a couple of things in terms of the reaction to the last match. Me and Scott, of course, we said on the pod straight after the game how bad the performance was. We all know how bad the performance was. But the reaction from Gary Neville, I mean, he was the ringleader. And then just all of the United fans, I mean, you know, I get messages from all kinds of people and all people who love United and want the best for United. And it's just been hysterics, Ben. Absolute hysterics. I mean, we've got a new manager, right? And let's not forget, we were bleeding goals. We were dropping 5s against Liverpool, 3s against City, 4 against Leicester. What was it, 5 against Watford? I'm trying to delete the memory. So yeah, but it was crackers, right? So that's what we were up against. Since Ollie went, we haven't lost a game, right? Since Rangnick's come in, we haven't lost a game. Since Rangnick's come in, we drew in the Champions League. That was a dead rubber. We drew against Newcastle. That's not a good result at all. But you have to take into account where we were starting. You have to take into account how low we have been dragged. First of all, by the previous regime and then by the board not acting. Honestly, Ben, I was tearing my hair out for the last few days. And if we had lost today, I would have still started the pod with this today because I thought it was bang out of order. We've got a new manager. It's a new era. And Gary Neville, he's meant to be the fan on the field. And he always was. And he always gave 100% for United. And I will always love him for that. But what he said after the game was not in the best interest of United whatsoever. It really wasn't.
No, I think you're spot on. And I think when you and Scott, you boys covered it on the post-match against Newcastle, I think you summed it up really well because we know, don't we, instantly after the game, you have that reaction, you get it out your system. And this is what we do on the pod most times, isn't it? On the post-matches is, and you can imagine it when you've been either watching United on TV or you've been at the ground and coming away from the ground and you're thinking, oh, God, that was awful today. We need to be better than that next match. And you need that. You need that after the game. Yeah, of course you do. You vent your anger, you vent your frustrations at certain players, pull up the performances, point out where we went wrong, where the mistakes were made, how we could have done better. But you're right, it's the major reaction after that. It's not a team that needs to be picked apart. Like you said, you need to have a bigger picture in mind. It's the timeline that we're on. Like I say, the form in the past few games, even though it's not been scintillating football pre-Newcastle, like you said, it was unbeaten. We were winning games, so we were getting clean sheets. We were addressing problems that were absolutely major problems before that. So you're right. And you look at as well on the football landscape, even over the past few days, Liverpool have slipped up, Chelsea have slipped up, didn't they, against Brighton? And you look at this Christmas period. This Christmas period has always been we've said it's a little bit different this year, but you look at teams that have actually played more than us over the Christmas period. It ultimately, it's always a bit of a difficult fixture period in the calendar. Of course it is. This is what you said, isn't it? I remember thinking back years ago when we said, yeah, Christmas, as long as we get through that, and then you go on the home straight then, isn't it, really, from then on in?
I mean, Fergie, the wily old fox as he was, birthday tomorrow, of course. He used to use it as a trigger, didn't he? He used it as a thing where the turn of the year was the ignition of the team to take off. And he used it as a marking point. And he always used to say, as long as we're in touching distance, and of course he wanted to be ahead, but it was a psychological ploy, and it toyed with the minds of the other managers, the other players on the other teams as well. And you knew in January, and he used to say it all the time, in January we go, and we did.
We did, you're right. And I mean, even look back to this time last season and going into it's easy to forget now, of course, after what followed it in the end of last season and the start of this season. But last year, going into that Christmas period and getting to January, we were feeling really optimistic about our side. I think we were a couple points off top at the start of the year, and we were really going into it. And you're right, it's easy to forget those sort of moments. And this one, especially against Newcastle, look, the performance was bad. You boys covered it really well on the pod.
It was awful.
It was.
I'm not denying that.
But you're right. I think it's
awful.
The reaction to say, "Oh well, tear it all up." The formation, the thing, and everything. It's like, well, the whole point is this is the system that's trying to be put in place. This is when you go into any to be honest, any field, but any team and any manager comes in, there's a period of time where he needs to get his thoughts across, his tactics across, and we all know what Ralf wants to play. We all know his blueprint, as it were. He spoke about it enough. We've heard about it enough. We know what he's trying to get out of this team. And of course, we're going to have moments like this. But you're right. It's easy to forget at what point he came in and what point we were at, because we were a hell of a lot worse than we have been over the past sort of 3-4 games.
Exactly. And if the expectation is that we win every game, then fair enough. Great expectations. I love it. He's fallen short by drawing one out of those, right? Out of the live games. So pretty bloody good going when all's said and done.
Yeah, of course it is. And you're right. It's just it's not the performance, because the performance was terrible. It's the overreaction afterwards that you see come after, innit?
Yeah, and you know what, Ben? Can you think of any manager in history, right, who's taken over a team in a good place and never had a time when a lot of people are questioning him and saying it's never going to work? We would just use easy examples. Guardiola, when he started with City, Klopp when he started with Liverpool. You know, we can keep going, right? Tuchel when he started with Chelsea. There's loads of examples. Conte a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
He can change most teams, but he can't change Spurs. They're bad apples. Suddenly, they're not bad apples anymore, right? So every manager goes through it. Every single man. Fergie, right? In the beginning, massive doubts. So it always happens when you're trying to stamp your authority, when you're trying to change the methods. Everything's changing in the club. There is going to be days when it just stinks, and it did stink against Newcastle, but the reaction today was totally positive, and yeah, I think it was too much. I honestly think Gary Neville is more interested in being proven right than the best interests of Manchester United. He was more interested in Ollie than Manchester United, and now he wants he wants to prove himself right, basically, rather than do what's best for Manchester United. And yeah, I'm not having it.
No, I think as well when we live in the world we do now, where there's so much analysis on every single game, on every single moment, and United, let's be honest, being the most analysed club in the world in terms of talk around it, there's always this sort of trigger happy nature, isn't there, to come out with a quote or a turn of phrase or something that will then go a bit further, because obviously the broadcasters like that, they get more eyes on the views and all that sort of stuff. And I think maybe it's got caught up a little bit in that, and you're right, maybe it's still with Gary in particular, still a bit of a hangover of the support for Ollie and the question, if he then points the question at Rangnick. But look, this is the place we're at now. Is Ralf Rangnick is Man United manager. He's going to be Man United manager until the summer, and then who knows after that, he'll be at the club for another couple of years after. So it's the start of the project, right? And he's come in.
And he's been in charge for a few games, Ben, hasn't he? You know,
like I'm not even coming when it's all rosy.
Would never do this to Ollie after a few games, after 4 or 5. No chance. Like, come on, he wouldn't do it. Yeah. He wouldn't do it after any manager. Only the manager following Ollie.
Oh, absolutely. And look, I mean, you've got to have that, because also you've got to have the bad moments for Rangnick to figure out what. Let's be honest, half these players are playing for the future, aren't they, at Man United? So he's got to have the moments to decide who makes it out of that, what decisions need to be changed. You saw him speak after the game today, and even McTominay speak after the game and said... It
was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, and said about Ralf and him saying things in training that we can't stand any more of the... I think it was the actions he was saying, wasn't it? The sort of frustration on the pitch needs to be sort of channeled a bit better, basically, is what I read in between the lines of it. And you can see that, okay, so we've drew against Newcastle, we've had a poor performance, but then, of course, it's how we react to it. It's what goes on in the training ground afterwards. It's what comes out of that. And today, we've seen a good reaction to it.
Let it slip a little bit, didn't he, McTominay, in that interview? He said the standards in training, there's nowhere to hide, basically. And then he said, because it's Manchester United, of course. But he definitely was talking about Rangnick originally.
Oh, of course he was. And we've heard different things, haven't we, about whether the training's been has it been a bit too intense? I've seen come out the past few days.
Honestly,
thinking,
cry me a river.
Exactly.
Or they finished at 5 p.m. and left in the dark. Good. I mean,
yeah, because have you seen us this season?
Dear me. I mean, realistically, Ben, if I was the trainer, and I'm not, of course, but I'd be training at the same time the matches are.
Yeah, that's very true for match conditions. Yeah,
100%. And that's the problem with these modern day footballers. You've got the families moaning that you're not home by tea time and stuff like that. It's God dear me, it's a weird old world, the professional football world these days. But look, mate, we're back on track, right? And we were never that far off track, and that's what I'm trying to say. And I think, and the reason I'm digging out Gary Neville, and I love Gary Neville, I really do. I'll always love Gary Neville, but he needs to understand the influence he has, and I think he does as well. And he started this whole narrative, and I watched it on the American stream today, and they were all over that narrative. And I've read the papers; they were all over that narrative, and we've had to hear about Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes and this, that, and the other non-stop, and it's basically all fed out of Gary Neville after the game and a half time. going in that way that he did. So that's the problem I've got. It's partly respect to Gary for having that voice and being able to influence in such a way, but at the same time, it's what annoys me is that I think a lot of United fans are just blindly following Neville because, like me, I look at him as a red like me. So if he's got all the inside info and blah, 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 then I can see why people blindly follow him. But he's not the man to follow at the moment because he's, that was not right what he did after that game.
No, I think you're right as well. Look, it's important to pull people up when they're wrong. And like I said, Gary Neville has been, let's face it, one of, if not the most important person in football during the calendar year 2021. You know, everything after the Super League and his voice after that, he was held up as very much the.
I hope he doesn't listen to this.
The good.
Oh God, he'll be popping another bottle of champagne after that. Dear me.
But he wasn't he? He was held up as the voice of football, and rightly so in what he said to it and how he went against it. But he was, and everyone, let's all get behind Gary Neville, and it was very much like plastered on that sort of stuff. So I think you're right. I think his place within football, when he speaks, people do listen. Like they do, and you're right. So it's important that I think he gets a lot of things right in his punditry, but
he does.
But when he got this wrong, and we've seen him. Let's be honest, it's been over the past 6 months when it's to do with Ollie or whether it's to do with this now. He's got it wrong, and I think that's just what we've seen. So you're right. It's right to pull him up on it and just say, look, it was a total overreaction.
And you know what, Ben? If I did a podcast about general football, right, not just about Manchester United, I don't know if I could do it. I honestly don't know if I could do it. Just like I don't know if Gary Neville can do it. You know, I just don't think I would either go too far trying not to be biased, or I'd be grossly biased. I just can't do it when United are involved. If we were doing the Spanish league, I'd be fantastic, no problems. If United are involved, no chance.
Yeah, you've always got your red hat on, haven't you? Your red tinted glasses.
Underpants, socks, FKW, the lot, mate. You know it.
Of course you have.
You know it. Anyway, listen, let's get tucked into this game. There were a few changes. David De Gea, of course, started in goal. Harry Maguire, alongside Eric Bailly, returning from what was meant to be an early release for the African Cup of Nations. And he returned a Superman to the rescue, as we like to say with Eric Bailly. Everybody knows he's a pod favourite. Great stuff for Eric to come back and save the day.
Yeah, well, now Lindelof's stuck in with COVID, isn't he? So we're down to the bare bones. We saw against Newcastle that Varane clearly wasn't fit enough to start a game, and I think on another day, Maguire's very lucky to start still. But look, we didn't have any options, did we, today?
No, we didn't. And Bailly, of course, went off, didn't he? So potentially he will miss the African Cup of Nations and be fit in a couple of weeks.
Well, the Eric Bailly's fitness, I don't think anyone can predict that, can they?
No, but fair play to the bloke. Right?
Yeah, of course.
He was granted permission. He could have gone. He came back, and fair play to him. I did suggest that we might have a change in the fullback positions, and we did, didn't we? Double bubble, Wan-Bissaka and Shaw back in. I think it was the right time. I think the one of the big things that Ollie suffered with was when something's working, he's just flogging it until flogging a dead horse, as we say, right? And sometimes, even when something's going well, you still got to switch it. And I think it was exactly the right time to switch Tellez and Dalot out and bring back the first teamers, if you like.
Yeah, and it shows the standards as well, doesn't it? Because I think, especially Dalot might think he should have started again against Burnley tonight. But I think it shows the standards. We've drawn a game. It's been a bad team performance. So back come in Wan-Bissaka and Shaw, and then you need to raise your game again if you want to get another starting place. So I think you're right. It just shows you that I think even though we haven't got a full complement of a squad at the minute, it just shows you that we do have them options that if you're not pulling your weight, if you're not playing well, or you could improve your game, then you easily replace. It just keeps everyone on the toes a little bit, doesn't it?
It really does, and we've seen it, haven't we? We've seen it work, Ben, and we've seen it work with these exact players. Luke Shaw was certainly looking a little bit more sprightly tonight, wasn't he?
Yeah, of course he was.
The energy was back, and actually, if you think back to when he lost, well, he didn't lose his position, but Tellers just got signed, didn't he? So Tellers got signed, and Shaw took the ball by the horns. And then don't forget in the Euros, it was Trippier that started the first game at left back, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Shaw,
it
I don't
was.
think Shaw didn't
Yeah.
even make the squad, did he?
Not in the first game, no.
Right? And then what do you see after that? So I would say it's a big slight on Shaw's mentality that he needs that to get up. But if that's the way it is, play the game.
Oh yeah, manage the players you've got and manage them to the T of how they play. Yeah, absolutely. And we saw him marauding runs. He was shooting tonight. He was trying it all.
And Wan-Bissaka was different tonight as well. It's interesting, isn't it? A bit of competition, and things do change. Now, listen, Ben. Of course, we have McTominay, but we had Matic there today, and it wasn't really a 2, was it? There was a different shape to it today. I wouldn't exactly like to put a sort of a number on it, a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-2-2 or whatever, because it was quite sort of fluid, wasn't it? The way it moved, but of course, Bruno Fernandes was suspended. So we had Sancho in there, we had Greenwood in there, we had Cavani, and then we had Cristiano Ronaldo. So Rashford dropped down to the bench, and I think was justified after the Newcastle game and recent weeks.
Yeah, definitely. And the formation is an interesting one because I think it was billed on Amazon, the stream that I was watching, as a 4-4-2. It was billed on the United app as a 4-2-2-2. So I think
it definitely was both at times.
Yeah, you're right. It did seem that the wingers, I think, were a little bit closer to the fullbacks rather than being those number 10s. I think they were a little bit more, I don't know, intertwined with the fullbacks a little bit and could come inside a little bit. But then we saw them push on as well. I think we saw.
And Ralf called them wingers after the game, didn't he? Instead of number 10s. The first game he called them number 10s. Today he called them wingers.
Yeah, so you just saw a slight difference there. Ronaldo, I think, was a little bit more freer, should I say? He came a little bit deeper at times. We saw
and more central, right? More like he was the one who was granted the freedom in the penalty box, and everyone else did their stuff around him, rather than it being a double act.
Yeah, and even like at the end when I heard McTominay speaking, and he said a little in part of what he was saying. He said, I think for going forward and stuff, he said he's played very deep this season, and back in the last season he played a bit further forward and got some goals, and then he's played a bit further forward tonight. And he said, I told Aaron just to stay. So there was clearly there a conversation to be had about if Wan-Bissaka was going forward and maybe the midfield 2, or Wan-Bissaka and Shaw going forward, the midfield 2 dropping a little bit deeper. If it's McTominay going that we saw tonight, he was all action, wasn't he? Then maybe that was the cue for Wan-Bissaka to come in. So you can see those sort of relationships. So it's Absolutely. Nice to hear that sort of thing happen. And I think as well, one on McTominay, that obviously we'll go into what happened in the game and stuff, but just interesting to see him in a different position as well that isn't locked into them 2 defensive midfield that we've seen for what seems a lifetime now, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I personally, I've said for a long, long time, and I know Scott sometimes said that McTominay could potentially grow into being a defensive midfielder, as a sole defensive midfielder. And I've never been on board with that. I really don't think that he has. I just don't think it fits him as a player. I think what we saw tonight and what we've seen in the past against Leeds and against Arsenal, those kind of performances where he's given a license to go. I like to call him the attack dog. That's the way I see McTominay. He goes out and he does his business. He's never going to have a monstrous pass percentage. He's never going to be, the prettiest player, but he will make up for the deficiencies in passion, and he will make up for them in energy as well. And he does understand United. He does understand the different. I noticed that when we have the bigger games, he can raise that level, but also when we're playing the cannon fodder of the league, he can run all over them as well. So I personally think with McTominay and with Fred as well, they're the kind of players who they're great squad players. You just need to look after them and work, get the best out of them in the right way, and use all those positives and just try and cover up those deficiencies.
Yeah, because McTominay, especially his energy and his fitness, can be off the charts. Like he could run all day, and I think what you see from in this sort of role is he can often be a trigger, then, can't he? And that can that can be in multiple different ways. That could be on the press, that could be with a pass, with a tackle, like especially the team against Burnley, where you saw tonight where maybe the game was drifting a little bit more slowly. He'd go in with a full body tackle, get the ball and everything, and it just raises the crowd a little bit, raise everyone around him, and he can be, like you said, that attack, but that all action midfielder that can go in and when given the license to do that, it has to be in the right setup, obviously. And I think where we've seen it fall back in the past is when him and Fred have been in those defensive midfielder where if one of them goes or both of them go at some point, then it all falls apart because then there's space behind them.
Yeah.
Whereas when he's got the license, then it's you sort of see that more of his qualities then, don't you?
Well, yeah, it was kind of we got into a situation, didn't we, where we were weak defensively. And so Fred and McTominay were getting deeper and deeper. Bruno was playing fantastically. He was providing moments of magic. So the midfield regressed. They got deeper and deeper. And Bruno was still banging the goals in. So it was almost like we were a victim of certain successes within the side. And it just got further and further, didn't it? Until Bruno was on the penalty spot and our back four was on the other penalty spot. And there was absolutely no midfield. But what I will say is when McTominay plays like this, it certainly moulds the midfield, the defence and the attack all into one much more. When you've got that all-action player, it feels like we've got midfield again. Whereas there's been times where you just think, where is the midfield? Like Wolves, for instance, you think, where is everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. And even tonight against Burnley, who were playing very direct, we even played a little bit direct at times. So when you're in those sort of games, especially coming up against teams that will defend low and then look to go direct and go physical, sometimes that midfield battle does get a little bit lost in these type of games. So to just, like you said, it comes against different opposition. He can mix it against the top teams and do it against the bottom teams, and his qualities to do that and take control of the midfield. And I think you're right. It's about having these. Well, I'm not going overboard because he's been fantastic tonight, but it's about having these types of players and these types of formations that fit the system against a specific team, isn't it? That's not going to work all 38 games in the Premier League season, but it will work for certain few and work very effectively.
Yeah, and I think as fans, we have to understand that we've all got our favourites, haven't we? Some people like the all-action players, some people like the silky players, but we need every type. And if we're playing a certain way one week and if certain players flourishing, we need to understand that it doesn't mean that we have to hate that kind of player. I see this more and more in football these days. It's so extreme, isn't it? Like I say, after the Newcastle game, for instance, the reaction is so extreme. It's there is more than one way to skin a cat. But look, Ben, let's get stuck into the game. We started. Look, I must say, for the first 5 minutes, I was trying to get my stream up and I was struggling a little bit. I saw the Wood chants. What else would you write home about in that first 5 minutes, Ben?
It was very open. I thought
Yeah.
initially when it started, we were very open. I think the Burnley were finding spaces in between our defence, obviously with the Wood chance as well. It was offside, wasn't it? But even just the fact that they were able to just break and instantly they bypassed everyone and suddenly they were in, and then you're thinking, oh, hang on a minute, this is the first 5 minutes that had the chance. And then did you see the Ronaldo opportunity?
Yes.
Yeah. So
big
that's
time. When he put it over?
Yeah, when it was a fantastic ball from Shaw, wasn't it? And then
Beautiful.
It was,
and he manipulated the opportunity to play the ball fantastic as well.
Oh, the little cushioned header.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then just the finish was anything but what you'd expect of Ronnie, wasn't it?
I could not believe it, Ben. I could not believe it. I really couldn't. When he danced through, you think that is the most goal you've ever seen in your life, right? Ronaldo clean through on his right foot, opened up. Oh, yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Just sat back a bit too much, didn't he? Got too much out in it, but it was a poor finish. But everything up until that was absolute textbook.
It was, but we didn't have to wait long, Ben, because Scott McTominay stepped up. We've mentioned already it's Sir Alex Ferguson's birthday coming up, and who better than a Scot called Scott McTominay, who, of course, Fergie has known since he was a little kid, to step up and sort it out for Manchester United. We're going to give the assist to Ronaldo. I'm not sure it's on purpose. I think he was trying to drag it onto his left foot, but it's a little bit of a trademark finish for Scott McTominay now, isn't it? That low past finish. I don't know why more players don't do it. I know Michael Carrick used to do it when he got the opportunity. You use that passing ability to just say, look, the player is in the far corner. I'm going to pass it to him, right? It's so easy if you're a good passer. And Scott McTominay, yeah, he's done it again.
Yeah, and almost Carrick-esque in the sense that I can't remember. Look, I think it's his first goal of the season, isn't it, McTominay's? And I can't remember him having too many shots in games, though. When you think about it, but you can. I mean, obviously the goals are easier to remember, but it's not one that he tries often, and maybe that's because where he's been deployed a bit deeper. But it is that sort of that side foot finish that has a lot of spin on it. That look, I think he could have had an hat trick in the end tonight, but that one in particular, it was. Yeah, Ronaldo will get the assist, won't he? But he was definitely shaping up to stick it with his left foot, and then Scotty just came in and ran onto it, didn't he?
Yeah, you're right. Carrick used to be very, very good at knowing when to shoot and when not to shoot, right? He was very conservative. The percentages of the amount of shots he had to the amount of successful shots he had was very, very good. Unfortunately, the Old Trafford shoot brigade got hold of him. he was a massive victim of the shoot brigade. I couldn't believe it, honestly, Ben. It used to drive me insane. The last person you want lining them up from 30 yards every game is Michael Carrick, but the shoot brigade wouldn't leave him alone. And honestly, it was a bad time. Everyone was like, no! Everyone was shouting shoot, and I was like, no! Of course they couldn't hear me, but it was blooming bad play from the Stretford end. It really was.
Yeah, but you can see them wheeling it out tonight after somebody scored. It was every time he got the ball. It was deep inside his own half, and you'd hear the shoot cries.
If I could control one thing in Old Trafford, it would be the shoot brigade. If I could mute them, honestly, I think United would play better. I really do. Yeah, well, because all those bloody shots. I mean, the amount of times the shoot brigade have said shoot and we've scored is probably 2 in history, I reckon. Yeah, big time. Anyway, we got the goal. We're 1-0 up, and early days as well, which is crucial with the run we've had, Ben, and conceding early, 8 minutes in, getting that goal at Old Trafford. It did the world of good for the feeling of the fans, the feeling of the players, and you saw that spring in the step, didn't you? And you thought, now we're going.
Yeah, because the game plan is always at the minute to play with more intensity, more energy. That's the big thing that keeps coming out of Ralph's press conference and his post-match interviews and pre-match interviews. But the goal changes things. Like if we get a goal early on, then you're right, then the confidence can come out a little bit. Then the worries go away from the individual players that we saw against Newcastle at a lot of the time, where the players don't make the same decisions at 0-0 than they would do when it's at 1-0. And maybe that's something that the players need to individually improve on. But you're right, it changed the game, and it just makes it a little bit more comfortable to then go forward. And another thing on that goal as well, that when Greenwood gets it after he has his shot blocks and turns back, just the amount of options he has there was one thing I noticed, because obviously Ronaldo had come a little bit deeper. Wan-Bissaka, who I didn't think he had a great night, and I think there's massive question marks over him. But the fact that he was, at this instant, he was high and wide. It was another option there. Yeah. Not that you would want it to go back to him for a cross, but Ronaldo was there, McTominay coming in. It just showed you that when we get that ball in and around the box, we've got the options there, because it was a packed box with Burnley defenders as well.
It's a great point, Ben. I think the big thing in the Ollie reign is that the lack of movement was stark, wasn't it?
Oh,
you watched us sometimes, and you just think that no wonder we're not creating any chances, because we're not moving. We're literally not moving. And yeah, you say Wan-Bissaka wasn't great tonight, but he was moving more. And he popped up on the left wing at one stage. That would never, ever have happened on Ollie. It really wouldn't. So there is developments going on, but it can't all happen overnight, Ben. And people need to understand, they really do. And I know I've already said at the start, but I'm just going to go a little bit further, because we got blooming new manager, and we've had matches cancelled because of COVID, and the whole world is shut down because of this pandemic, right? But when United come back from it, it's like you've got to perform the next day. You know, there must have been some players who've had this thing, right? There must be some players who are staying at home. They can't train normally. There's so many aspects going on here. You mentioned already that Chelsea dropped points. Liverpool, that was fantastic, wasn't it, the other day? Wonderful. So, come on. You know, a little bit of slack here. New regime. Let's get a bit of positivity. God, do you not want us to get back to the top again? Because I tell you what, if United fans carry on with this vein and follow Gary Neville along this line of trying to pick on all the negatives all the blooming time, then we'll end up back to where we started. Because remember, the whole thing was, Ollie's going to leave us in a nice place for us to move on. Yeah? And he will leave the squad in a nice place where we can then develop from there. If we keep on wetting the bed after every draw, then we undo all that work.
Yeah, and the COVID, we only notice it as fans more because it's games that get called off or get moved. But the training, the Carrington's been completely shut off. It's completely closed. The actual training time Ralf has had with these players in comparison to what it could have been or what it would have been without COVID, without decisions. Obviously, we all know how the end of Ollie's reign with the international break, everything all combined, it just is a lack of training ground preparation and time with the players. So you've got to let that go as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, as I said, we had Wan-Bissaka popping up on the left wing. We had Shaw marauding again. And I was thinking at this stage, Shaw will up his levels. He will up his levels. He's the challenge, the gauntlet's been laid down. Greenwood was probing on the right. And you always feel, don't you, with Edinson Cavani and Cristiano Ronaldo up front, it's just that added danger. When one of the wingers, if Sancho or Greenwood, they grab an inch, you see those two bodies in the box, and it's a totally different proposition to when you just got one of them.
It is, and that crosses on then as well, isn't it? It's another,
and you can really just chuck it in, right? I mean, of course, we prefer a pinpoint, but chuck it in, and with Eddie and Ronnie in there, the chances are you might get an assist, and everyone thinks you did a bloody good cross.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's fair, but it's and with Sancho and Greenwood, you've got the options, those type of players that can take on a man, but then if you get an inch with them two in the middle, then the cross is always on, and it is one, and then you want the fullbacks high and wide, and then the cross is on. Then, so you're right, it's getting those opportunities, and there was a lot more good tonight where we got the ball in dangerous areas a lot more than we were. I think Ronaldo was on the. It was all over the place tonight, but he was also on the last shoulder, and you saw it every time a chance came, just how he just timed his run right, and Cavani as well. They're the two of the best in, well, you could say in the league, aren't they? Really timing the runs. So if we get the ball right, then you've got a chance.
Yeah, and we'll dig into Ronaldo after his goal in a minute. But we got a different goal, didn't we? Before then, with Jadon Sancho with a driving run. And what looked like a picture-perfect finish. It did get a wee touch, as they say up north. What do you reckon, Ben? Are we giving that to Sancho at own goal? For me, it's Sancho all the way.
Oh, with your heavily red tinted sunglasses, then I'll be there with you.
If you are going to take a goal off a man, you need to show me scientific evidence that it was definitely 100% going wide. I don't think you could do that.
I'm not going to get my ruler out, don't you worry.
Mate, the great thing is that this is what I wanted. I thought in this formation, this style of play, I wouldn't say this formation because it was a little bit different tonight, but I think Jadon Sancho's key. He is that. He is. If you said, who in our squad do we have that is a combination of number 10 and winger, you would say Jadon Sancho. So we are playing two positions which are combinations of wingers and number 10. So for me, it works perfectly. And it was a dazzling little run. We saw it last game, didn't we? That little run just before the end, which could have led to a free kick on the edge of the box, unfortunately offside. But we're starting to see those. We saw the intelligence, the link up early days, but now we're starting to see a bit of the dynamism of Sancho. And I don't think he's going to get the goal, but he certainly earned, well, at least an assist.
Yeah, and that one thing with Sancho of standing up a man almost and then going, right, I'll back myself here to go at them and drive at them is something that, like I said, we've seen it in glimpses so far, and I'm just so excited for him to add that more and more to his game whilst he's in this United system, because it is exciting to see, isn't it? And maybe it is.
It
It
is.
comes from obviously like a selfish point of view. You'd rather do that every single time. I realise he can't do that for the whole system to work, but there's almost nothing better than seeing the ball get played out to a winger of that quality that has got the quality in his feet and the little intricacies that he can do, the little touches and sleight of movements, to just absolutely go at a defender, because then it's like panic stations in the defender's head, isn't it? Thinking, what is he going to do next? Is he going to shoot? Is he going to pass? And I think if that's one thing that he can keep driving forward and doing that, then I think we'll be in a very good place with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's bloody effective, but also as a fan, it's bloody great to watch as well. Because look, you speak for yourself, I'll speak for myself. But in terms of taking a man on, I mean, I can learn a trick, right? I can learn a trick and try and take a man on, but I can't do what he does, which is basically just look at a man and then just beat him without doing any bloody tricks. What does he do? He doesn't even do anything. You know what I mean? It's literally, he just at a split second looks which way the other guy's going and goes the other way. It's fantastic. It's wonderful to watch. And as a fan, it's something I just can't do. You can't learn that.
Of course you can't. But it's something that you mentioned a little bit there. It creates momentum then, doesn't it, for the team and especially when we're at home.
The feeling, everything. We need that at Manchester United. We know,
massively.
I mean, Cristiano knows, from back in the day. So because he was the one doing it. So and it's interesting to see Cristiano Ronaldo was certainly not looking like someone who's not a team player today. He was involved in all the celebrations. And I tell you what, Ben, if you want to go back, I don't know if you watched many Juventus games, but go back, watch when Dybala scores, watch when Costa scores.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you like Costa, but the rest of them, most of the time, mate, he certainly didn't even jog over to the celebration. He's running over at United. It's a different story. It really is. So, and look, people have got to understand, if you want something super special, you've got to look after it in a different way. Ronaldo's super special. Ronaldo could be the man who wins us the Champions League semi-final, wins us the Champions League final, and we get another European Cup. He could be that man. He's that bloody good. So let's look after him. Let's not slag him off. Let's not try and drag him down. Let's not try and say that he's finished and that he's stroppy and this, that, and the other. We know he's stroppy. He was stroppy when he was 18. I watched him with my own eyes when he was 18 being stroppy. But he's our little stroppy bastard, and we need to look after him.
Of course it is. But tonight as well, you saw more acknowledgement as well. So when Greenwood would try a cross, or whether it was Sancho, whether it was Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, anyone was trying to find him, you saw the acknowledgement that even when it didn't get there, he was acknowledging it. And the frustration in the game you saw from him tonight was the right kind of frustration, because it was if he miss hit a shot or hit the side netting, it was frustrating at himself that he didn't score that, because he knows his own standards. So you want to see that almost, but the acknowledgement from the rest of the team, and like you say, the whole togetherness, you saw that in Buddles tonight. And I think you're right. Look, when it's not going for him, he's not happy, but that's because he's a winner.
Exactly, mate. And look, it was the biggest first half lead of the season, apparently, at 2-0 up. And McTominay returned the compliment for Ronaldo. And like you just said, Ben, Ronaldo missed the chance and he was absolutely furious with himself, right? For me, I've got no problems whatsoever. If Cristiano Ronaldo is going to tell everybody these are the standards, and if I fall below them, I'm going to slag myself off, then blooming hell, give him the captain's armband.
Yeah, because that's the standards, isn't it?
And honestly, Ben, I would actually do that. Do that. Yeah. If you're going to get on the Ronaldo train when he's 36 years old, right, you've got to go all in, right? And the truth of the matter is that there's no one in that dressing room who has a higher standing than Cristiano Ronaldo. What I would actually do, Ben, is I'd give him the captain's armband and then start dropping him sometimes. So I'll be like, Ronnie, you're my man, right? You are the man to lead us back to glory. But just once in a while, I think you need a rest. All right. So you're the skipper. You're the man. When you come on, don't worry. Whoever's the skipper will give you the armband. You put it on. You turn into Superman. That's what I do. Call me a madman, but I reckon that's the best way to get the best out of Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's our best player. So why not?
Yeah, and
And it's
look,
not like we've got a captain who's blooming tearing up trees, right?
no,
It would
it's
do him
absolutely
good as well.
it do. I mean, it put a rocket and a half up Maguire's backside, wouldn't it? Let's be honest, but. You're right. It's the standards that he sets himself, that he sets for his teammates, and you can see it when he scored the goal. That even though McTominay, he was celebrating with him when he was doing his
He's done it again,
Zoom.
hasn't he?
Oh mate,
He did that in his first game as well. McTominay loving it, absolutely loving it, fantastic.
and that's what you want to see, doesn't it? Because that's just everyone's behind him. Look, everyone on that team is playing with Ronaldo, but also playing for Ronaldo as well. And if Ronaldo's scoring, then it's a happy dressing room, isn't it?
And you know what, Ben? I'm not actually joking about that Ronaldo being captain thing. I'm deadly serious. I really think that is the way to go. And if you think about it, you think about the Ronaldo you get for Portugal, right? When he is skipper. And he always seems like more of a team player. And he does seem more of a team player when he plays for United compared to Madrid and Juve as well, definitely. In terms of his relationship with other players, in terms of the celebrations of other players' goals. But he's never been a club captain. Never been a club captain. And I think that it would just tip the scales in terms of, if you gave him the armband, Ronnie would just lean more towards the side you see with Greenwood and Sancho, where he's trying to build them up, and less to the side of maybe Rashford, where he's fed up of him. But I must say I am too, and I think a lot of other people are too. So I really think that if you're going to get on the Ronaldo train this late, and he's going to be the obvious leader of the team, just stick the armband on him and drag every goal and assist and inspiration you can possibly get out of the guy.
Yeah, it's a one-way ticket, isn't it? And he's,
you know it, man.
I'm not going against him being the captain at all or being the driver of this train that we're going on, because you're right, you've got to get fully behind it. And as well, like you mentioned, Rashford, he treats different players differently as well. Like he'll be harder on Rashford. I've seen him, even the way he speaks to Varane sometimes is come on, you know you can make that pass, because he knows what he expects of certain players. And then you see it's slightly differently with Greenwood, even Sancho to a certain extent, because maybe their age, because they haven't played together before, and you just notice the difference in the way he speaks to different people. But that is all the man management that he goes through in his mind. And it's second nature to him, isn't it? But he's going to pull us up wherever we're going. He's going to be heading front and centre, isn't he?
And you live in a fantasy world if you think Cristiano Ronaldo is not conducive to a winning football team.
Oh,
you're living in cloud cuckoo land. So if you think Ronaldo's the problem, take a blooming look in the mirror, because he's bloody not. We had Shaw trying to find Ronaldo again, and then we had Maguire stuck under a high ball. Again, he was very, very lucky. It's just another thing that when you're low on confidence, you just hesitate for a second. But it's not the day to get stuck into Maguire. We got away with it today. And then, as we said, Cristiano Ronaldo on the 35th minute, Scott McTominay with a shot. Superb, outrageous save from Hennessy, wasn't it? Dipped onto the bar. Ronaldo tucked it away with his right foot. I thought he might have just cashed in on a left foot shot there, right? Left foot goal, get his percentages up. But over to the corner, Scott McTominay and him with a double sue. And yeah, the good times are coming back.
Yeah, it was something a little bit nonchalant about the little tapping, wasn't it, with the outside of the boot? He was
like the dribbler, yeah?
Yeah, he was almost on his way to do the celebration when he tapped it in, wasn't he? It was lovely to see that.
It really was. It was Cristiano Ronaldo special, wasn't it?
It really was, yeah, mate.
It was fantastic. But yes, so look, exactly what the doctor ordered. Ronaldo back on the score sheet, but we didn't have to wait long, did we, until they struck back. Aaron Lennon straight through the middle. God, I thought I'd see the last of that guy. I mean, he's been haunting us for the last 20 years, hasn't he? Like, literally, he could be out injured for like 19 months, and he comes back and he looks like blooming. Oh, who does he look like? I can't think of an example, but like someone bloody amazing. And he tears us a new one, and it disappears again, and he pops back up. Scott, he's crackers, mate.
And it looks like he hasn't it looks like it's the same Aaron Lennon that was haunting us in the mid 2000s as well. He's still
He's going to be in bed for the next 3 days.
But yeah, coming to this Burnley side and not had many appearances, but he come in and haunt us, and wasn't it? It was like using his pace, getting behind that we've seen him do many times before, but we're talking like 10, 15 years ago, and he's popping up doing it again.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
Unbelievable. And of course, there were a few things we could have done better, but we're 3-0 up in the first blooming half. All right, it's 3-1. I'm getting text messages of people slagging off defenders and stuff. God, chill out, guys. Chill out. For God's sake, we're 3-0 up. Now it's 3-1. We're going to win the game. We're looking solid. The spirit of the team's much better. Wouldn't you much rather us get our gloves out every game and land blooming 3 punches on the opposition, take one on the chin, be 3-1 up, rather than be 1-0 down or 1-1 at half time? I mean, God, do people forget where we were a few weeks ago? It's crazy.
Oh, yeah, and I'd rather go into our time it being 3-1 and thinking, we could have done better there, we could have done more there, we could have got another goal there. And you're thinking, well, yeah,
but you're still 2
good.
up, right?
Exactly. So it shows you'd rather be in that position than be chasing the game, and then it really is the criticism. So yeah, you're right. Yeah. Like, point it out, but going to half time 3-1 up, it's not a bad state of affairs, is it?
Of course it's not. And realistically, of course, if we went in 2-0 up, everyone would be singing from the rooftops, right? But 3-1's a better score than 2-0.
Well, it's more exciting for fans, and I'm not sure.
It's better in terms of points, isn't it? It's better in terms of goal difference. Goal scored is better than.
Yeah, very true. I wouldn't like David De Gea to argue with you, but
I
agree with you.
You know what I mean?
So, yeah, man.
Yeah, but honestly, mate, I thought, look, we've gone out there, we've gone toe to toe, we're banging in goals. I don't know what everyone's complaining about. I really don't. And you know what? Maybe Burnley will think twice next time they decide that we shoot to the Stretford end of the first half, because it was always an unwritten rule, wasn't it, in the past? There would be months would go by where we'd always shoot to the Stretford end second half. No one would dare to basically switch us around. Burnley decided today, I think they did anyway, and maybe Harry Maguire, thought we'll get this done in the first half. And actually, maybe in the future, maybe that is something we should think about, to say, you know what, sometimes we'll phase the other team, we'll shoot the Stretford end first time, and we'll go, you know what, let's get this done by half time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're at the game, it all depends where you sat, doesn't it? You have your own little personal, but there's nothing better than going in Stretford end second half when you're in the ground. But yeah, you're right. It's all about doing different things and managing it.
How's about when your season ticket is the back row of the second tier of the Stretford end, like mine was?
You're in dreamland, then, aren't you?
I'm in dreamland in terms of no one behind me. That's number one. Number two, in terms of a big metal wall that I can bang to make extra noise.
Of course you are.
Although I was carrying copious injuries on my fist every blooming week. But honestly, there was like all kind of lacerations and bruises going on. But I mean, sometimes things will be going on at the other end, and you're really not quite sure what's going on at all. You're really not.
That's what it's like, though, isn't it?
It's a long blooming way. It really is. I saw Wayne Rooney's bicycle kick against City all right, though.
Oh, well.
That was all right. It was all right. There was a cheeky floodlight. I had to move my head. So I got very good at moving my head each way so that it didn't obstruct my view. But look, mate, we had a giant leap, didn't we, from Cristiano Ronaldo again after Greenwood stood the ball up on the 41st. Shaw was probing again on the 45th minute, and Greenwood finished the half with a dazzling run and an absolutely awful shot. I think I've seen more bad shots from Mason Greenwood in the last few months than I did in the last couple of years. I never saw him hit a dud ball for a long, long time, but recently he's hit a few blooming stinkers, hasn't he?
Yeah. When he first came into the team, it was everything that came off his foot was in the top corner, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like he's been down. Before he was in the driving range all the time, right? He's in the garden just practicing a stroke. But now he's playing competition all the time. He doesn't have time to hone that stroke, right? I think that's what it is.
Yeah, but like I said on that one, he does everything but then gets there, and then you sort of just expect him to hit it in the back of the net, or just expect at least him to work the keeper or make a better do of it.
What a fantastic expectation to have,
Of
right?
course it is.
Of a blooming of a kid from the academy.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I think we all know where he can get to, where his potential is, and I think that's the fact that he's playing as he is at the minute, and we know he can go up levels and levels above that. Just knows how high regard we hold him in.
Absolutely, mate. But look, we went in at half time, handsome lead, nothing to complain about whatsoever, and felt blooming good, didn't it, Ben? And especially after, like I say, I was not happy about the reaction after the Newcastle game. I thought it was totally unnecessary and unfair, totally unfair. And I was so happy with that reaction. Though, the positive scoreline, I'd much rather, 3 goals as well in the first half. Really, really good.
Yeah, and you're right. Look, we need a reaction because it felt like in that first half we almost went back to basics in a lot of the senses and was right, what do we actually want of ourselves and what standards do we want to go to after that Newcastle performance? And you're right, it wasn't like 45 minutes of high action, high press, scintillating football, but we did certain things very, very well. And you said got the goals. The problem we had in the past couple of games is we weren't creating a high enough amount of chances to score the goals. And we've scored 3, and we're still going at half time thinking we probably could have had 1 or 2 more as well.
Yeah, I think Ralph's realised that he needs to get a couple of reinforcements in before he can go full press, right?
Yeah.
He's doing the half press. He said it didn't exist, remember? He's half pregnant. Yeah. He's half pregnant.
We're a little bit half pregnant all over the pitch at the minute, aren't we?
Come on, Ralph. We're in the big boy league now. Anyway, look, mate, as always at halftime, we'll point everybody in the direction of our friends over at vintageunitedshirts.com. As everybody knows, we had the competition winner. Will Mellish is the way you say his name. So our Patreon member who won the artwork, he's chosen the David Beckham artwork. He said he absolutely blooming loves it. I think it's a very popular piece, that one, Ben. Have you seen it yourself? I know you're a bit of a Becks fan.
I am a Becks fan. Very good choice there. And I've seen a few bits on
That's
Vintage
the Spurs
United.
celebration, right?
It's the what?
Spurs celebration?
Yeah, the Becks one.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, I'm all over that. And Beckham,
pretty sure it's the Spurs celebration, right? When he scored at Spurs, I think.
Yeah, I have to double check it, but I'll go with you on that, mate. On the factual, I'm
the 90s man, factual, right?
You're the 90s man, mate.
I bet you didn't even know Becks didn't used to wear Adidas in the beginning either, right?
You joking?
He was rocking Asics. He was rocking Nike Tiempos, all the tricks, mate.
Oh, don't do that.
Back in the day. Back before the curtains, mate. Before the curtains came. The curtains and the Predators together. So, yes.
Yeah.
Will has won that. So, if you want to get your mitts on a piece of artwork, get over there. You can use the promo code ICONS100. You get a 20% discount. And of course, as usual, across the store for all the classic shirts, United shirts, use the promo code United100 for 10% discount across the store in terms of shirts, shorts, and socks. So get involved in that. I tell you what, Ben, did you see Scholes's What I Wore on BT Sport this week?
I haven't seen it yet. No, I saw it today, but I've not had a chance to properly listen to it. But I saw him because he walked in with the white shirt that he scored the volley against Villa, didn't he? Away at Villa Park.
Yes.
I saw the intro to it, but I've not watched the full thing yet.
Yes, it was hanging off him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He commented on it as well. He said, it fits me better than this thing. It's ridiculous. What I love about Scholesy is when he's not being a pundit, he is the most honest, down to earth, and he just spits facts. When he's being a pundit, he talks the biggest load of tripe ever. But but he was literally, it was just everything is even down to, he was talking about his goal he scored against Bradford, right, from the corner. And he said, and they were talking about the shirt, and he said, I didn't like that shirt. I didn't like the material. Remember that material, Ben? The sharp view cam one, right? It was
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
blooming
another
rugby
one.
shirt. It was like a flannel.
Yeah,
He's
with
spot
the
on.
the
He's spot
stripes on as
on.
well, and the collar that wasn't quite a fully like thick collar. It was a sort of a
Yeah.
flimsy collar as
It,
well, wasn't it, with the buttons.
it was weird. And then he even, he loved the 0607, all right, of course. And he said he was at the peak of his powers at that time as well. And I'd vouch for that because he was beautiful to watch that year. But then he said the 0708, 0708, 08, 09 shirt, he was like, that's not actually that good a shirt. And I must say, he is actually right. I know loads of people are going to disagree. It's not actually that good a shirt. We were just so good in it that we remember it in such a good way. I mean, the blooming white bit on the back peeled off every time, didn't it?
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
and
I mean, that was
yeah.
gone with a few washes. So, Scholesy spitting facts about football, about shirts. It was beautiful to watch. Yeah.
Oh mate, that'll be on my tomorrow's watch list because I need to get into it. But yeah,
Have a
he
watch.
does speak facts as well when, like you say, when he's a bit more relaxed and just able to just talk football
Definitely.
about
Definitely.
himself.
He was actually saying that he would have retired after he thinks he should have retired in 2012 after the City the debacle, yeah. But I think
Yeah.
he's shot to bits. Why in hindsight would you want your last year to be 2012 instead of 2013? Is he? I mean, he's shot to bits, isn't he?
Well, exactly. You'd rather go out on a high,
Crackers,
wouldn't you?
crackers. You're not talking sense. I take it all back, Ben. Absolute nonsense talker, but bloody brilliant footballer. Look, Ben, as I say, get over to Vintage United Shirts, vintageunited.shirts.com, United 100, 10% discount across the store. But look, Ben, we start the second half. The one thing that Ralf has said recently is he wants better control. And that was one thing I saw today. We definitely had better control. I'm not saying we're prime Barcelona in terms of control, but it's better. And in terms of say for instance, the start of the match, we took the lead after 8 minutes. Second half, the start of the half, it wasn't flamboyant, it wasn't great, but there was control. There was definitely some element of control. And I'm not saying we've flown to the moon or anything like that, but there are steps forward here. There definitely are.
Yeah, and it's evidence that we can have control, isn't it? I know we're 3-1 up. I know it's Burnley, but look, the players are carrying out that control. But almost Ralph has got to then it does that to prove that the whole thinking behind his system, behind his tactics works, because it's like, look, we've controlled that second half, we've won the game, and we've limited Burnley to half chances in that second half, really, when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I think we weren't scintillating, especially that first sort of 10 minutes after the second half kicked off. But it was, and Ralph admitted after the game, he said we still need to get a bit better, especially I think he said it defensively, so
Yeah.
controlling it, and I
Yeah.
think that
Of
was
course we
spot
do.
on, because I think we still left a few holes, but I
Definitely.
think what he was saying is that the team structure, the team unit looked a lot better than it has done, and we looked a lot less open than we have done previously. So yeah, look, like you say, it's step by step. There's no one more than me and you and everyone listening that would want us to be absolutely playing scintillating high press, high energy football for a full 90 minutes, but we're not at that stage yet.
No. And I hate to compare it to them, but we have to because it's so apt. Guardiola and Klopp didn't have it going after a few weeks either, right? There were ups and downs and in the middles, and they already had, the reputation. Pep, of course, already had the team. Of course, I mean every City manager since Mancini has won the league, haven't they? So I mean it's kind of like you win the league, just how many? So yeah, we need to get our standards back to that kind of level. But yeah, there was better control, and we had a Ronaldo header wide from a Greenwood cross, powerful header. But yeah, it's one of those ones where if it goes in, it's an outrageous goal. Not really a chance. Greenwood forced to save as well. Ronaldo and Cavani with a couple of dummies. I'm not sure Cavani was totally intentional, but again, that desire to get your toe on it, create the chance, and give Greenwood the chance to pull the trigger.
Yeah, and being aware of where your teammates are on the pitch, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
you said, it was quite smooth. The Cavani one, he sort of got stuck under his feet a little bit,
Yeah.
didn't it? But But you're right, it was that the acknowledgement for Ronaldo that Cavani was there, the acknowledgement for Cavani that Green was there, and finding that sort of system that gets someone in the best position to have a shot. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's just that awareness across that front line.
definitely, and there was definitely more of a desire, especially on the break as well. You know, and on the 63rd there was a specific break which ended up with McTominay getting a shot tipped over. But it was the desire to make it work that I was impressed with. It was the desire to take advantage of all the situations. Sometimes I think in the past couple of years we've been very passive, and opportunities arise, and we kind of just let them pass us by without really embracing them. Whereas today I saw a little bit more of an intent to grab those chances, and when a break starts, let's flood forward, let's bloom and take the opportunity, and it certainly led to more chances from us.
Yeah, it did. It's that purposeful movement, isn't it? That you're doing it, and you're doing it as part of a system and together as well. And it's not just one going and chasing down a loose ball. It's people moving in the right sort of ways. It's people taking the advantage of mistakes. Do you know what I mean? Burnley making mistakes, and then we need to be ruthless, because that's what we need to be when we're up there and a team makes mistakes. Because how many goals? I mean, we can speak for us conceding goals as well, but how many goals do you see that can be pinpointed down to a defensive error? But it's then how ruthless you are in making them pay, because the top teams, you make even a slight error against them and it's a goal. It's in the back of the net.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Absolutely. And Varane did come on for Bailly on the 66th. It looks like Bailly, as I said, has picked up a bit of an injury. And Varane, of course, in the last match, as we've discussed before in the last pod and earlier on today, looked like he was running in treacle. So probably good for both of them in terms of Bailly potentially coming off before something bad happened, and Varane getting on and getting a 30-minute run out instead of having to play another full 90.
Yeah, Varane desperately needs minutes. That's what he needs more than
but
anything.
not 90s, I think.
No,
right?
no. He needs to get his fitness back up and
because he wasn't ready for that Newcastle game. He wasn't ready.
And we know this season that if he comes back too soon, you don't want him then out for a lengthy injury again. He's got to be managed well and managed right. And I think Ralf has realised that after the Newcastle game as well, which fortunately, look, we've come through that game. I know we keep going back to it, but Varane's come back into this game and look, he looked all right when he came on, but he's getting those minutes when it doesn't matter as much, and he can then build up his fitness again. And you're right, it can be managed in that sort of way. So yeah, be thankful for that. And Bailly's didn't look too serious, did it? So we'll see what comes out of it, but hopefully it's nothing too serious.
Maybe serious enough to miss the first game in the African Cup of Nations, but not serious enough to miss too many of our games.
Yeah, if we're being cynical and we haven't got many to pick from, otherwise a certain Phil Jones might be getting a call up to the squad.
Yeah, so Alex has had a word with Ralf. Here's the way you do it, big boy. Right, come on. Let me give you a 101 on Premiership management, and let's get this sorted. Look, there was a couple of Burnley chances, one from open play, one from corner as well. And but we always seemed like we were comfortable. We had those extra goals. There was a massive rendition of 12 Cantonars. I know Christmas is over, but not in terms of the Old Trafford faithful. We will sing 12 Cantonars as much as we possibly can. It was quite delightful, Ben. We were massive rendition, rapid break. Ronaldo nodded down to Cavani, save. It was offside in the end, but it would have been just the most glorious end to the worst Manchester United Christmas I've ever known, I must say, because we just haven't existed, have we? We haven't been around, and then we had that god-awful game at St James's Park the other day. That would have been the Christmas present I was looking for, because I love that song, and it would have just been classic United.
Oh, it would have been gift wrap, wouldn't it, mate? It'd have been a lovely festive
Christmas cracker.
Oh, there we are.
There we are. Well, you started with the puns with the gift wrap, mate. I thought I was trying to give up the puns, because you and Scott slagged me off for it.
When was it? When did I slag you off? Was it the CU? That was why, wasn't it?
That was naughty, wasn't it?
That was why.
That was really naughty. I was so excited, mate.
I'll give you that one, though.
I can't help it, but it was delightful. And it was almost a classic Manchester United counter-attack in the cold. Cavani Looked like there might have been a little bit of an elbow on the 74th minute. He looked pretty furious, didn't he?
Yeah, I thought he was going to square up to Sean Dyche at one point.
Yeah, not the greatest of ideas, but I mean,
There'd have been a meeting of minds.
He's probably got his crossbow down the back of his shorts, hasn't he?
You're braver than me, but it'd have been a meeting of minds, that, wouldn't it?
Last seen at Windsor Castle.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But you know what? When Eddie's on the field, I just feel so much better. I did, I said it a few weeks ago. I said I think it was to Scott or yourself, or one or the other, right? That Cavani's the key. Cavani's the key. When he comes back in, he just molds everything together for some reason. He's just one of those players that just has that footballing instinct to know exactly what to do to mold that team together. He's a special guy.
He is, and look, we've seen it from even when you think about Ronaldo coming in and him handing the number 7 shirt, and the fact that he's the type of player that he is. Look, I can't speak for knowing the guy personally, but you can imagine him just being a really good influence on that team, on that dressing room. But you're right, in the way he plays, he carries that on the pitch because he does it in the best way for the team at whatever time, and he won't get any of the many of the highlights from tonight, will he? But the fact his movement is there, he's always a lethal threat as well, as it. When the ball drops to him in the box, if you're a defender, it's panic stations, isn't it? Because you know he's that good, he's that elite level of striker alongside Ronaldo. So no, you're right, he does just gel and just fits that role as well.
Yeah,
just alongside Ronaldo.
Definitely. And I always like when decisions end up being the best thing for the club. And I know it might seem like a silly thing to some people, but the number 7 shirt, giving it to Ronaldo, was definitely the best thing for the club. In terms of money, in terms of getting the best out of Ronaldo, in terms of Cavani wears 21 for Uruguay anyway. Uruguay is the ultimate for Cavani. So if you can wear 21 for them, he can wear 21 for us. No problems at all. So in terms of what is best for United, that I think, a lot of what Cavani does is what's best for United. However, I would say that we did make a massive boo-boo letting him go away for that amount of time at the start of the season. That was mental, Ben. Honestly.
Oh, we did.
It was crazy. And Sancho staying on holiday and Rashford blooming getting his operate. Honestly, mate.
You've got to let this go now. No. You've got to let this go.
It still winds me up, mate. We can't get those points back. If it was the cup, if it's stuff we can't get those points back, mate.
No,
Champions League, I wouldn't mind, but yeah.
But it's also with Cavani as well. And we don't want to go into this too much tonight, but it's the future as well, because I think he's got 6 months left on his current deal. We don't quite know where he fits into the future of Man United, but right now he's having a very good impact on our team. And
Ronaldo as well. But Ben, we need to be first things first. Let's try and win some trophies this summer, right? Let's try and win. Let's try and win the FA Cup. Let's try and win the Champions League. Let's try and do an absolute miracle and win the league. Why not? If it's mathematically possible.
Here we go.
No, if it's mathematically possible, let's bloody go for it, right? Call me an idiot, no problems. Let's go for it. And we probably will fail, but that's fine. But FA Cup, Champions League, let's bloody go for it with these players right here, right now. And what happens? You bloody win it, and suddenly other players want to come to you. Don't forget, back in what we talking now? What 2012, wasn't it? It was Eden Hazard was going to come to Manchester United, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Chelsea won the Champions League, and he went to Chelsea. There is no way that he would have signed for Chelsea if they did not win the Champions League, because they wouldn't have qualified, right? I think they finished out the top 4.
Yeah, you might be right. Actually.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So it was the scale tipper. So yeah, let's use what we've got now. Who cares if Ronaldo's not going to be around in 2 years? Who cares if Greenwood's not going to be around in 12 years? Let's enjoy what we've got now, right? Because it will all end. Every player's career will end. But if we've got them now, let's blooming use them. Because Cavani and Ronaldo, they are weapons. They are monster weapons.
Oh, massively. And you're right. I think you can get stuck into transition periods, even transfer windows, and we need this, we need that, we need the other. And well, we could talk all day about that. But you're right. Here and now is what matters most, and I'd much rather come in the season and we've won an FA Cup or won a Champions League or we've done something amazing, got some silverware, and then thinking, right, how do we rebuild next season again? Well, that's fine. That can come then, and that's that. The transfer targets and the things like that are only ever going to get better, aren't they? If we actually win that silverware, it's not going to get worse.
Exactly. And I want that abuse. I want that abuse that Tuchel's getting now. People are slagging off Tuchel, and it's like he won the Champions League in May. It's like that. I want that abuse. Give it to me. Look, mate. Delot came on for Greenwood, so we had the double right back situation. Rangnick showing a bit of German pragmatism, right?
Yeah, go on. We can go for that as well. The double right back can
because he hasn't showed much, has he? He is quite.
No, he hasn't.
He's quite flexible. He's quite dynamic. What I like about him is that I don't think he is totally fixed to any ideal. I think that he wants to get the best out of the football team that he's got, and that's all I ever want out of a manager. Really, for me, it's perfect.
Oh, absolutely, and even the way he wants to play comes ahead of formation or even like style. You can sort of split that a little bit as well. That because I think today we went a bit more direct at times, but that suited us.
Yeah.
So you're right. It's about just getting the very best of the players and what we've got and getting the very best out of the team.
And let's not forget, he's a temporary manager. He's here till the summer, right? He's here, and it's possible. And I know, as United fans, we've had experience before, right? We've had a temporary manager before, and he ended up permanent. So now we've got a temporary manager. So we kind of think maybe he's going to be permanent, right? That's the instinct that we feel inside. We're like, yeah, we got Ralf for a while, right? But maybe not. And Ralf has got a very good record of replacing himself with someone who continues on with his style and works well with the players. And actually, maybe it's just what this squad needs. Maybe this squad really does need, and maybe it's what we needed a couple of years ago, right? Is someone to come in temporarily and look at the squad and they can take the hits. Rangnick, he's already taken one hit, right? Martial is gone, right?
Yeah.
Martial's gone in January. So that's not going to have any effect on the new manager in the summer, if we get a new manager, because that's Rangnick's decision. So that's done, right? So these kind of decisions can be made. Things can be done a lot quicker because the squad doesn't have to live with those decisions, right? There's not the same boss in charge. So, personally, I have no problem with it whatsoever. But we do have to give him some slack.
We do, because he's being ruthless, but he's also in at the deep end, and he's trying to be ruthless and trying to do this new system, this new team, and implement his ideas when he's got games thick and fast, and he's not got much training ground preparation to do, like we said. So it's a mix of all different things, but the fact is he's unbeaten. We're looking at in a decent shape going forward, and we look like we've got something to build off now. And it's a lot better than coming in and we've smashed everyone every week, and then where do we go here? We're not having that roller coaster at the minute. We've got a little bit of a steady ground, and then we've got levels to go up, and that's exactly what he's there to do.
If you read the papers and you listened to Sky and you read all the bloody messages I've received over the last few days, there is no way you would even consider that since Rangnick got hold of the reins at Manchester United, that he's been unbeaten, let alone that he's only drawn one game that's live. You would never have guessed that. You'd have thought he'd lost 4 out of 5 and drawn the other one with the reaction we've had. Honestly, it's pathetic. And we really, as a fan base, we need to just take a second sometimes, look in the mirror and say, do we want to turn into Arsenal? Because look at Arsenal, look at the state of that football club, and look me in the eye and tell me that if their fans didn't behave the way they did, that they wouldn't be in the situation that they are. That's part of the package, right? We need to be careful. You don't want to turn into that.
We'll never turn into Arsenal, mate.
Yeah,
can't be having that.
But you know what I mean, right?
I know.
The behaviour of the fans. People think fans have no effect on the team. They do. They really do. And the Arsenal fans, the way they behave, has had a monster influence in the way that club has gone. And we just need to always check ourselves that we're not going in that direction. That's what I'm saying.
No, I absolutely agree with you, mate. Because it's like when you're at the game, when you're watching the game, you scream and shout when a bad pass is made, when a mistake's made, and you curse the players and you say this, that, and the other. But you're right. Then after the game, you might do a little bit of that, and then you take stock, and then you think, right, where are we going? Where are we at? And it's just that bit of level-headedness afterwards, isn't it? When it all simmers down a little bit.
Well, yeah, it's just like, what's best for United? What's best for United? Me moaning and telling all my mates who don't support United that United are shit, or or is it better for me to say, to think, right, that was a bad performance. We played awfully, but I'm not going to spread poison about my own club.
Of course not. Like we're all on this train, like we've said tonight. We're all on this one-way ticket, aren't we? And we're all on it together.
Yeah, and we can't get off.
No. where it's going, we're not sure, but we're there till the end, mate.
Oh, it's the most weird and wonderful thing, isn't it, mate?
Oh, it is. That's what we're all in it for, aren't we? We want those hopes, those dreams, and then we want to try and realise them. So let's see what the rest of the season and the start of 2022 holds for us.
Absolutely, mate. And of course there was not really much more action. Fred came on for Ronaldo, just to set that bed, like I said earlier, about giving him the captaincy and taking him out of the firing line from time to time. But mate, we got the job done, 3-1, and at a time when you see Chelsea and Liverpool totally losing it over the festive period. It was nice to see us get it done in a handsome way at Old Trafford before New Year. Like I say, it's not been a great time. We haven't seen much football. We, of course, dropped points at Newcastle. But in terms of the start of an era, this is about as good as it gets. It really is.
Yeah, and we've got those games in hand now. We've got this momentum. We've got somewhat to build off, something to go off, and you can see the improvements in the team when you're right. Whenever there's a bit of chaos going, just look back at the results that were going on before and then look at them now. Like it doesn't take a genius to work it out. It's not a hard thing to look into. It's factual. It's there in black and white. And you're right. Let's just see where it takes us now, because I think we're on a good ground. We've got our feet firmly in the right place. I think under Ralf and under the players that we've got. So I think there's question marks over certain players. Of course there is, but that's how it should be. If you're not playing up to the standard that we've seen you be at before, or we expect of a United player, then you'll be out of the team. You'll be dropped. Someone else will come in. But that's what you want in any successful team. So I think you're right. Let's see what happens in the next few weeks, and hopefully we can build some bit more momentum, and then we can start see this team have a real style and imprint on games, and then look at those cup competitions as a real sniff of silverware that we're all so desperate for.
100%. 100%. And just remember, everyone, if you can't get behind someone at the start of a new era, then what you doing? What you bothering with? Because you never know what will happen. I would give any manager some time, no matter who it was, right? If they're starting a new era at Manchester United, depending on who it is, there would be different amounts of time, all right? So, I mean, Benitez, I'd probably give a couple of seconds, he'd pick after a couple of seconds, wouldn't he? I'd just see his face and it'd be gone. But every other manager, you're going to give some time to, aren't you? And if you can't give them a bit of time at the start, then what are you doing? What are you bothering with? Because do you really want United to be successful? Because that's why I'm so annoyed with Gary Neville, because the way he was acting the other day was that it's more important for him to be right than United to be successful. And that for me is a big, big no.
I think we've left the door firmly open for Gary to join us on the pod, haven't we?
Anytime. We don't accept corporate types on the pod, do we? Eh?
No, it's a fan base only type, isn't it? Really,
exactly. Does Gary qualify anymore?
Well, I don't know. We'll have to do a pre-interview with him and just spec him out first.
I tell you what, mate, I will say, I know people like to always just throw out the thing, they give 100%, right? This guy gives 100%, this guy gives 100%. I don't buy that at all. I've seen a number of times not give 100% for Manchester United in the stadium. I watched him the whole blooming game. He didn't give 100%. Gary Neville, he gave 100% every single time he played for Manchester United. So for that, I will always love him. He talks nonsense sometimes. My dad talks nonsense sometimes. I love him too. So, but as a player for Manchester United, he really did. And a real 100%. People chuck out 100. I give 100%. Really, they give an 80. Or they say 110%. Really, they give him 90. Gary, he was a real 100%er. He really was.
Oh, of course he was, and want to go along with the podcast on it, really. But that was a beautiful little tribute to him.
Anytime, Gary, anytime. Listen, mate, got a man of the match, McTominay, right? The goal scorer.
Of course it is. The great Scotsman from Morecambe, he's done it again. He's got to get it tonight. You talk about Gary Neville getting 100%. It was an all-action performance from Scotty, and I think he's got to have it tonight because he was superb.
And what about a little word for Sir Alex?
Oh,
80th birthday.
The banner that came out before he was in the stadium, you saw his little childish sort of like smile, didn't you? And
he was loving it, wasn't he?
Over it. He was gleaming. It's nice to see him in the stadium. It's nice to see him looking healthy, looking well. Look, we know he's what he gave to the club, what he gave to us as United fans. My whole existence as a fan of my childhood, everything I owe to him, and the football that I saw United play the first time I went to Old Trafford, it's all down to Sir Alex. So I think we owe a lot to him as fans, but look, it's nice to see him and to see him have still connections with the club. And it's not. There was a period of time where there was like, is his influence undermining the manager and all that, and I think we've got to a nice place now. Exactly, and we've got to a lovely place now where he seems to get more to games than ever now, which is lovely to see. And it's always a nice touch, isn't it, if you're watching it on TV and you see him in the crowd, then it's a nice touch out of the game.
Yeah, and also, you know what? Now you mentioned that, I'll go back to when he did retire, and so many people, and they continue the narrative to this day, that Fergie left a dud squad for Moyes. Oh. He left a title-winning squad, and he left millions in the pot. He hardly spent any money in those last few years. Yeah, sure, he chucked about 25 on Van Persie, but there was copious amounts of money to spend. And we've seen it since Fergie retired. You see the amount spent on transfers because Fergie left it in the pot, right? Fergie could have spent that. Fergie, if he wanted to be a selfish guy, he could have squeezed the Glazers. He could have got Van Persie and the rest after City did us in 2012. Instead, he left a title-winning squad and money in the pot. And just because the other managers didn't spend that money well, it's not Fergie's fault. So don't blooming put your finger at Fergie for that. It's for me, it is total insanity when you think, let's go 7, 8, 9 titles, yeah? 10 we didn't, 11 we did, 12 we didn't, 13 we did, yeah? That's 7 years. We didn't win it twice out of those 7 years. And then you're going to start criticising him for what he left.
It's crazy, mate, because the legacy
and when we did lose it, it was by 1 point or goal difference.
Yeah.
Get out of town. Just get out of town, everyone. Honestly, get out of town. Ridiculous. If you want to blame Fergie for that, find a new job. Dear me. Unbelievable. Listen, Ben, let's finish with anything else to add on the match?
No, nothing else from me, man.
Lovely day, right? For a change. Well, just a blooming nice experience, right? Watch United, few goals in the first half, home and dry by half time, after Christmas, full of food and alcohol. It's blooming nice tonight, isn't it?
It's comfortable, mate. It's nice to have a spat like that.
Yes, mate. Less comfortable things, I presume, a fantasy league.
Oh, well, you could say that. You could say that. I'm hanging on in there.
You've done all right, haven't you, this week?
Done all right this week, but I know you had Ronnie captain, and he's.
Did I?
I'm pretty sure you did, didn't you?
Yeah. So
I think you might have pulled away a little bit there.
Yeah. So the thing is, Ben, right, is that as we've been talking about Fergie, haven't we? And I grew up watching Ferg in the Mind Games. So, of course, on the last pod, I said, I was stupid, wasn't I? Using my emotions, going for Ronaldo as captain. I knew full well I was going Ronaldo captain again this week, but I was trying to push everyone else away from Ronaldo, right?
There you are.
Mind games, I'm pulling the strings here, Ben,
I know what you mean, but look, I've managed that tricky period, and we're going into the new year now, and I'm still hanging on in there. I think I'm about 5th at the minute in the table, but there's some high scorers in our league, isn't there?
They're doing all right, aren't they? Yeah, they are doing all right. I'm closing in, but have you worked out the difference between a free hit and a wild card yet?
Oh, mate, I had an absolute mare, didn't I? Used the free hit last week and didn't realise it was a very panicked decision on Boxing Day morning to use a free hit, and then didn't factor in that the free hit was just for that week and that it wouldn't change the whole team. And I still did okay, but it wasn't what it could have been.
Mate, I always look at the teams around me, of course, and I saw you had a free hit. I thought, oh, here we go. And I looked at your bench, and you had Salah and Alexander-Arnold. I was thinking, what's Ben thinking? What's he doing? I was thinking I was missing a trick. I was thinking, what's going on here? Has he got a double game week or something? What's going on? And then I realised that you must have done a massive boo-boo. And I contacted you, of course, and you had done a massive boo-boo, mate. Unbelievable. You left 25 million quid on the bench, mate.
Sending a message, wasn't I, to the rest of the team?
Strong message.
It absolutely didn't pay off, and that's all I can say about that. And then the realisation that looking at this week's and realising I still had the players I had previously in the team.
Yeah, exactly. The stench returns.
Yeah, stinking out the team, and it was a bad do. But
yes, it was pretty delightful. Ronaldo bagging like he did today. So I think that's about 12 he's got today. Sure, he's got the bonuses today, hasn't he?
Oh, of course he has. But there's an extra wild card in play now, isn't there, going into the second half of the season?
Free hit, Ben. Free hit.
And a wild card.
What?
You've got as well.
What, new one today?
I'm pretty sure there might be.
Oh no, that's the regular, right? So you get 2 wild cards anyway.
Yeah. You get one for the second half of the season, don't you?
Yes, big time. Definitely, mate. But yeah, it is quite tight. But you're pretty tight to me anyway. It's me and you are pretty tucked in, and then there's 3 above us, isn't there?
Yeah, the problem is they're reeling away a little bit, but
they're not quite, not from me, but they're pretty strong. It's hard to reel them in.
Well, it's going to be a big second half of the season, isn't it?
I shouldn't have missed those two game weeks, mate. Those 2 game weeks when I missed the deadline. It was Ollie-esque.
Oh yeah, there we go.
It was awful.
Get it out now.
I said it at the time, mate. Anyway, congratulations, the boys above us. They are doing all right. So, but yeah, it is getting tight at the top, I must say.
It is, and it's tight all around. I'm looking up, I'm looking down.
The problem is I always look up, right? So I always look up and I think, they're only 50 points ahead. And then I look down on that. Ben's 10 points behind. He's miles behind. No, he's never going to catch me. But if it's 50 points ahead, I'll catch him next week. No problems.
Yeah, well, there we go. Now mind games are in play. It's gonna change things up now.
Yeah, I'll transfer Ronaldo out this week.
Yeah, dropping subtle hints throughout the podcast.
100%, mate. But look, I'm glad we've got back on a pod, back positive again, right? Back with just a nice performance. Burnley at home, of course, dispatch them, get the 3 points, move on, new year, new start.
Yeah, exactly. Go and have a bit more food, bit more drink, and then we'll get in the new year and we can get down to business.
Yeah, maybe us, not the players. I think that might have been the problem over Christmas, I think.
Yeah, that's a very one-sided thing I said there. Absolutely not the players.
Brilliant stuff, mate. Well, listen, if you love the pod, subscribe wherever you listen, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. As usual, smack that 5-star button on Spotify, 5-star button on Apple. You can leave a review, of course, on Apple as well. You can't on Spotify. So get involved in that and follow our social media at United100 Podcast on Instagram, at United100 Pod on Twitter. If you want to become a member, get involved. at patreon.com/United100. There's different levels of membership there. As I say, Will has won the artwork this month. You also get another loyalty card for Vintage United shirts as well. So there's a few different perks. And actually, I'm going to start a new thing on the new year as well, Ben, that the members can, after the match, just ping me a voicemail and I think, one a month or whatever, one or two a month, I'll get in touch with them. And just a talking point, right? So, you got me giving my opinion, you got Ben, you got Scott, and then we'll have, just random United fans from around the world. And, maybe they've got a totally different angle on something. Maybe they want to flag up something specific. And I'll choose one or two. Of course, we record quite soon after the match, so it's quite tight. So one or two, and I'll edit them in after the match as well. So yeah, I think that'd be a bit of fun, Ben. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I love that idea, mate. Look, bring us all a bit together. It's been nice.
Exactly.
We've had the chats and you see everyone's opinions before the games, and everyone will have like you said, we've said earlier in the pod, everyone has their own sort of takes, their own personal favourite players, and you see it all come out there, don't you? So yeah, give them a voice, let it be heard, and then look, let people criticise it too. Come out and say it with your chest.
100%, absolutely. Because the thing is, Ben, is that's what the pod's all about, right? We just give our opinion. We are mad, passionate Manchester United fans. We give our opinion, and sometimes, even the opinion I give, a few days later, I've changed my mind. Of course, because we do it after the match. I'm passionate. I'm angry. I'm happy. Whatever I might be. But it's nice. I like chatting to you. I like chatting to Scott. And sometimes you'll say something, Scott will say something. I think, I can get on board with that. So, yeah, I think it'd be nice to get a few different opinions, a few wacky opinions, a few clever opinions. It might be a bit of fun.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I fall under in that.
I think you're the level-headed one, mate. In general, yeah. On the feedback I get, you avoid any bullets, mate. You're less divisive than some of the other hosts.
Some of the other hosts. We have got a big squad, haven't we? To be fair?
We have, mate. Dear me, we're like, squad number 76. But look, get involved as I say. Follow us on social media. And hit that subscribe button. And the 5 stars really do help, just because they push us up the charts. More people see us, and that's what we're here for, right? We just want to spread positivity in the United realm. We'll be back, of course, after the next match. And is it you or Scott after the next one, the third? I think Scott, right, after the Wolves game.
Oh, I'm not sure, mate. Couldn't say. You have to go back to your original fixture list.
I've got to stop asking this, because I asked Scott last time. He was like, I don't know.
Game by game basis, mate. I've got that mentality at the minute. Scott McTominay and me, we're going game by game. I've not even thought about Wolves yet.
Well, I'll definitely be here. I'll be here with Scott, or I'll be here with Ben, or I'll be here on my own. I don't know. But we'll be back on Monday. So happy New Year to everyone. Thanks so much for your support this year. Honestly, it's been fantastic. And of course, it's been such a weird couple of years, hasn't it, Ben? We've had the pandemic last year, with football stopped. This year, it's been mental as well. But there's so many people who've been supporting us, following us through everything, through football existing, football stopping. So yeah, we really, really appreciate it. As we say, it's we're always on the journey together. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a pretty special journey, whether it's going good, bad, or whatever in between. But yeah, no, thank you everyone for joining us on it, and Happy New Year to the Reds all around the world.
Yeah, but I will say, Ben, it's so much nicer doing the pod when we're winning, honestly. Because sometimes, as well as I do, when we lose, sometimes we have to drag ourselves on here, because just like all of you guys, all we want to do is go and get smashed, or go and forget about it, go and hang out with our missus. So yeah, when we're winning, it is far, far better.
Exactly. We'd rather be positive about things, don't we? And we've always done that on the pod, even when it hasn't been so positive either. So yeah, you're right.
We've tried.
It looks good going forward, and that's what matters most right now.
Absolutely, Ben. Well, listen, mate, Happy New Year to you as well. We'll be back on the 3rd after the Wolves game. Until then, thanks for joining us again, and thanks for joining me again, Ben.
Nice one, mate. Happy New Year, guys.
Take care. Cheerio, Reds.